Coming up on today's show.
A murder investigation is underway after a body is found in student halls.
Have you registered to vote? Salford University explains how.
Today's Pancake Day and we had a flipping good time at the Big Flip in Oldham.
And Richard Frediani talks to us about the Royal Television Society.
Good afternoon. Our top story today. A murder investigation has been launched at Salford Halls of Residence.
The body of a man who sustained multiple stab wounds was found on Monday afternoon. Alex Worthing has the latest from the scene.
Students from the University of Salford returned home yesterday after lectures to find that their halls had been turned into a crime scene. It was here at Bramall Court that the body of a 30-year-old man was discovered by police at about 1 p.m. on Monday afternoon. Now, a 36-year-old man has been arrested by police on suspicion of murder and is currently being questioned at a police station. Now, the student halls here reside on Cannon Street, which is just down the road from the university's Adelphi building, meaning many of the students that reside here are on the popular arts and media courses. Now, the ground floor and first floor of the building were cordoned off by police, and the students living on those floors have been temporarily moved out. Now, the university itself has released a statement on the incident saying, "We were informed this evening of the very sad news that a young man has been tragically found dead in halls on Cannon Street. Our thoughts are with his family and friends at this time." Now, the university is said to be helping Greater Manchester Police with their investigation. Now, forensic investigators and detectives were on the scene throughout yesterday afternoon and into the evening. And Greater Manchester Police have said that if anyone has any information regarding the incident, then they should call 101 or the independent charity Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111.
We have just received an update. A GMP spokesperson said that a pedestrian approached a PCSO on Monday afternoon, saying that he had killed someone and that the body was in halls on Cannon Street. Police have just confirmed that they believe the body was that of a university student.
And remember, if you are a student and have any concerns, you can call Student Life on 0161 295 0023 and Nightline, which is open overnight 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. in term time, on 0161 275 3983. Now, hundreds of thousands of students are missing from the electoral register, including many from the University of Salford.
Friday was National Voter Registration Day, and our reporter Max Merrill was at the Students' Union to find out more.
In the last general election, more than 70% of over 65s went to the polls. But for 18 to 25-year-olds, it was only 43%. I want to see what the USSU is doing to get those numbers up for Salford.
We've had students going out into all the different halls of residence, knocking on people's doors, giving them registration forms, showing them how easy it is to register and why it's important to register. The doors that we knocked on, people were really receptive. A lot of people were keen to take the forms and took a few extra for their housemates as well.
Over 1,400 students live in the buildings behind me, but at the start of January, only 32 people were registered to vote. That's in part due to a rule change in 2014, which saw 800,000 people drop off the electoral register. Universities were no longer required to automatically register students when they moved into halls.
But it's not necessarily a lack of political interest that's keeping students living on campus from registering. The nearest polling station is half an hour's train journey away, or if you fancy it, an hour's walk.
Through our discussions with Salford City Council, we've come to an agreement that if we get around 600 or 700 students registered to vote, we will be able to get a polling station here on main campus. If you're doing it for the first time and you don't have anyone to explain it to you, maybe you need to be provided with some more guidance. This is why we will be able to do that, and we will be going around the accommodations, and we will be speaking to students, and we will be explaining to them how exactly they can register to vote.
So from student voters to the challenges the media faces in elections, the Royal Television Society is hosting an event today at Media City UK.
The event is called Engaging with the Media. It will feature discussions about the 2015 general election, drones and networking. ITN editor Richard Frediani joined us in the studio earlier.
It's a great opportunity for students from colleges and universities across the north of England to mix with people who are already working in the industry. So there'll be workshops on animation, on Coronation Street, on the general election and other subjects, which hopefully students will get an insight into what goes into those sorts of areas, as well as hearing from people who are working in the industry.
So what kind of role are you having in the conference?
So I help organise it, so both the conference this afternoon and then the awards that take place in the evening, and make sure that we've got a range of industry speakers and guests to give students hopefully an interesting day.
You mentioned the general elections there. What role does Media City have to play in the elections?
Well, of course, Media City had a huge role in last year's general election with the leaders' debate that took place in the studios, which was the most televised event of the election. So we'll be looking at that and how influential debates were in the general election. Did it make people take a view on who to vote for, or did it dominate and turn people off from the election?
So what kind of thing did you think the media did right when it came to the elections, and what kind of thing do you think they did wrong?
Well, I think the challenge for the media was not to be led by the parties. So the questions I'll be posing was, did we allow ourselves to follow the agenda that was set by the parties, whether it were the Conservatives pushing issues such as a threat from the Scottish National Party, or whether it was Labour who were looking at things like welfare or benefits. Did we look at the issues that matter to the viewers? And did the viewers themselves feel that television benefited them when it came to deciding how they voted on election day?
I mean, how difficult is it with the limitations of reporting during elections?
It's a huge challenge, particularly TV. You have a very limited amount of time. There are so many issues that you have to look at. And the challenge is at every election is, did we get it right? And I think one of the issues that is more relevant now than it was 1 or 2 elections ago is, the role that social media plays, the role that parties will using, the internet to make direct appeal to voters. So we have to still stay relevant in what is a very crowded area of information that voters will get.
Sounds like it's going to be a really interesting conference
Hopefully.
today. So thank you for coming in, Richard.
Thank you.
Manchester's Chinese community welcomed in the Year of the Monkey on Albert Square on Sunday.
The event included 2 stages with a variety of acts, including martial arts demonstrations and traditional Chinese music, as well as street stalls and fairground rides. 2 brightly coloured dragons also proceeded down the streets of Chinatown.
The event staff apologised for cancelling the eagerly awaited firework display due to the wet weather, meaning it didn't go out with a bang.
Valentine's Day is fast approaching, but research shows that people think dating has become too expensive.
Fewer daters are choosing to splash the cash. Our very own Cupid, Jake Hurst, investigates.
Valentine's Day, the day where many loved-up couples and hopeful singles are expected to shell out their hard-earned cash in search of the perfect day of romance. However, recent research conducted by topcashback.co.uk has revealed that 39% of residents in the Northwest believe they have spent too much money on dating, with a further 43% saying that the money they have spent on these dates is a complete waste. More than a fifth of those surveyed claim that they have now been put off dating altogether due to the expense. So what does this mean for Valentine's Day in the Northwest? For a variety of coffee houses and restaurants, Manchester's Piccadilly Gardens would usually expect to witness a huge surge in business on Valentine's Day. But in light of this research, will daters be opting to stay in and save their money?
Definitely. It's completely a waste of time in my opinion, because you've got all year to show the person that means so much to you how much you love them. You don't really need to spend one day spending a lot of money to prove that.
I think it's a bit overrated. Maybe it might not be a waste of time, but I think it's a bit overrated. It's blown out of proportion. I think you could do it any day of the year, really. Yes, dating has become too expensive. It's now all about, the commercial aspects of living. It's less about, the feelings and the meaning and communication between two people. Life has become too busy for people to really communicate correctly. So now they're just resorting to buying things.
Well, the romance has gone out of it, hasn't it? It's manufactured with cards and fluffy teddies. I'd rather have a letter or a little note left. That's far more romantic.
It's like stop spending loads of money just to make someone happy. If you have to spend loads of money to make someone happy, then you're not basically making yourself happy.
It's clear the residents of Manchester feel that Valentine's Day is not as special as people make it out to be, and that dating has become too expensive. However, there's no taking away the special rekindling of romance that some couples get from Valentine's Day. Jake Hurst, Quays TV News.
Cal, will you be splashing the cash on your Valentine?
Don't know about that one.
Well, maybe you can buy a Park Life ticket instead. Seems that the lineup's just been announced today. We've been joined by Jack, who's an expert on the festival. So, Jack, what are the main acts?
The main acts this year are the Chemical Brothers, Major Lazer and Jamie XX. They are headlining across the weekend.
And what's the reaction been to the act so far?
The reaction has been incredible. People who have seen the Chemical Brothers before know that they are well known for going all out with their performances. They have the full setup on stage, and then they have massive light shows with holographics going into the audience, or even as the case was at Glastonbury last year, giant robots.
So what do you think the crowd reactions are going to be like when they're there? Is it going to be like a really intense atmosphere?
It's definitely going to be very intense, the atmosphere will be electric.
So what do you think the lineup compares to like last year and the year before?
It's definitely more diverse than it has been. There's a lot more sort of UK urban music coming through, like Skepta, Stormzy, and even Craig David making a return.
This new urban feel, is it different from previous years?
It's a subtle change. It's been more dance music focused in the past couple of years, whereas now it's modern grime music and garage. It's definitely taken it in a new direction.
And you say about Craig David making a return, how do you think that's going to go down with the crowd?
I think it will go down very well with the older members of the audience, but also the younger members of the audience, particularly.
So can you tell us when the tickets are going to go on sale? And
the tickets go on sale on Thursday for general release, tomorrow for pre-sales if you've signed up for them, and I think they're supposed to be about £79 for the weekend.
Perfect, thank you, Jack. That's something to look forward to, isn't it? In the rainy weather at Heaton Park. So now Adam is here with a quick roundup of the sport.
Thank you very much. The terrible weather has affected many of the non-league fixtures that were supposed to happen at the weekend. Salford City weren't able to stage their league tie against Halesowen Town. Meanwhile, FC Trafford weren't able to stage their game with Radcliffe Borough. Macclesfield Town's FA Trophy game against Torquay United was also postponed, along with FC United of Manchester's league game against Solihull Moors. Altrincham FC were able to play their game against Swelling United, which resulted in a 1-1 draw. Sunday saw one of the biggest sporting events of the year taking place, Super Bowl 50. And it wasn't just America who had Super Bowl fever. Many parties were held throughout Manchester with famous American delicacies such as chicken wings, hot dogs, nachos and Coors Light on offer. Fans were also treated to a spectacular halftime show performance by Coldplay, Beyoncé and Bruno Mars. The Denver Broncos were the ones lifting the Vince Lombardi Trophy at the end of the game, beating the Carolina Panthers. Now, here is Jen Smith with the weekly forecast.
Good afternoon. Well, we've had quite a dry start to the day, but unfortunately I'm the bearer of bad news, as the weather is going to be wet and windy for the rest of the day, with a maximum temperature of 6 degrees, but it will dry up later in the evening. Moving into Wednesday now, it's going to remain chilly with light winds throughout the day, and Thursday is looking much the same with lows of 3 degrees into the evening. So do make sure you wrap up warm, as we are expecting a frosty Friday morning.
Now, Cal, Jen has been very busy this weekend, hasn't she?
She has. We sent her to Oldham's Big Flip event to celebrate Pancake Day.
Pancakes, guys.
Pancake Day has crept up on us once again. And on Saturday, children put their flipping skills to the test at Oldham's Tommy Field Market.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, flip! 3, 2, 1, flip! Oh, Oh, that's flipping marvellous. You haven't flipped out. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, it's panning out beautifully.
And for those budding chefs, help was on hand with recipes and tips from DJ Chef.
Have an incredibly hot pan. It should be absolutely roasting before you put the first bit of batter in. And then it always kind of just goes on the floor anyway, so there you go.
Before getting stuck into their pancakes, visitors had to choose their toppings. And with over 115 stalls here at Tommyfield Market, that's a difficult choice to make. Doodles.
Well, it has to be just lemon juice and sugar.
But on the flip side of all this fun, why do we have Pancake Day?
Because so you know if you can flip pancakes or not. I don't know.
Pancake Day comes about because the church celebrates Easter, and what's happened is that the church developed the habit of fasting for 40 days before Easter, where we have a time of thinking, praying, and Pancake Day comes the day before that starts. So the tradition is that you use up all the goodness that you have in your kitchen and you have a big party.
So with that in mind, I think we best use up these pancakes and carry on with our party.
Are you ready, Jen? 3, 2, 1, let's flip, go!
Jennifer Smith, Quays TV News.
Don't forget, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website, quaysnews.net, or follow us on Twitter @QuaysNews. There is no Friday First this week, but we should be returning next week for much more discussion, entertainment and sports news.
Thanks for watching. We'll be back next Tuesday. Goodbye.
Goodbye.